What is up, everyone? We are live Saturday. Man, it's already January 20th. Time's just flying by. We're almost into February. Huge day in sports here. Starting us off with a 12-game college hoops slate at noon Eastern. We've got a UFC pay-per-view today. We got NFL playoffs. Kurt, is there EL today? You know, there's just a bunch of stuff going on in the sports world. We have a really good 12-gamer today for the main slate. I'll bring in Kurt first. Kurt, you're not on my couch this week. How's it going?
I wish I was. Maybe y'all it warmed up a little bit, but it's going good. Still recovered all week from the lack of sleep in Chicago, but it was well worth it. Screw Frontier. Pretty good week this week. Besides that one day, you all had a lot of fouls. I didn't have the fouls, and I looked out with Day Thomas, and I still didn't have a true sweat. So it speaks volumes for how I've been running. I've been like bubbling cash or going even, and so it's kind of frustrating like that. But it's better than losing your ass. I'm just ready to have a sweat. It's been too long. Pride myself on being a decent college basketball player, but not lately. Excited to be back on with Gavin. What up, Gavin?
I know we got Gav back on. Gav, we had a couple of frustrating slates this week, but we did have a few Runs Pure members take down qualifiers, so that's always a good to see. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, man. It feels like every single viable play the last 3 days has not just made value, but smashed. And we got a lot of guys in play today without a ton of value. So pretty interesting Saturday slate.
Yeah, I think we just dive into it. We got 12 games to cover here. Let's start with a really good one in the Big East, Creighton at Seton Hall. Ken Palm's got Creighton 16th, Seton Hall 54th. Sports books, Creighton minus 2.5, 140 tote here, Gav. Interesting matchup. We've seen Seton Hall play really well in conference play behind Kadari Richmond. I think they're actually tied for first in the conference standings right now. What do you got here?
Yeah, 5 straight wins for Seton Hall after the waxing that they took at Xavier. They're 18th on Haslam's momentum metrics. So you're paying full freight and some in this spot. Creighton just got smothered by UConn in stores. You know, no shame in that. They had won 4 in a row prior to that, but 331st to consistency, just with their 3-point splits, it's going to be up and down from game to game. That being said, it's kind of a stylistic nightmare for Seton Hall in the spot. Creighton won both games last year by an average margin of 17.5 points. Seton Hall is tied for first basically in near prox rate. And we know Creighton, rim funnel defense, top 20 rim defense, point per possession, 2 years with Calc. Teams are trying to put them in pick and roll a ton at the highest rate in the nation. And they've actually been the third best defense in that regard. And Seton Hall runs pick and roll at about a top 100 rate. So, yeah, the line keeps moving to Seton Hall. This is a spot I may actually I've been trying to stay away from road favorites, but this is a spot I could very well bet Creighton at, I think.
Yeah, I think I've bet Seton Hall 3 or 4 games in a row, Gav. I think we both have. I think this is the spot to hop off. I think this is a get-right spot for Creighton here. Maybe a sell high on Seton Hall in this spot. Kurt, for DFS, we know exactly what we're getting from these two teams, though, especially Creighton. Baylor, Shireman's going to jam the peripherals. Kalk will smash if he adds the blocks in. Trey Alexander's been, I think, my most frustrating guy to roster this year. I think I've used him 3 times for all of his 3 floor games, including the game earlier this week against UConn. Any thoughts on DFS here on the Creighton side? And then Kadari Richmond, if he doesn't foul, he's going to give you 35 plus. I'm not sure this is the matchup for a 50 here. Gavin could talk more about the matchup, but always a great spend there at 8,500. What do you think, Kurt?
Is my audio bad? Is that why I got muted? How's the audio sound?
No. You're good now.
Okay. All right. Look, 7K, it's tough. I just find myself naturally kind of falling there too, unless I'm absolutely forcing in more than a couple Bama pieces, the Bama game and the Iowa game. So I hate to say it, but I kind of like him here. I don't really find myself getting anywhere. I'm not a Kadari guy. I've had him for 2 of his awesome games. I've missed the other ones. I just kind of go in the mid-range build today mostly. It's like a glove, even though we have some decent value. You play one of the values, rotate just the one value, and then kind of just do the mids here. And If I'm playing anyone in this game, it's going to be Trey Alexander. Thank you, Kev. I knew that's bad.
Yeah, Kurt, log off and log back on. You're like really choppy now. Gav, any thoughts here on?
Yeah, you cut out and muted too. Yeah, I mean Kurt's in East Jesus, so who knows what his Wi-Fi situation is. But I mean, even if I was not a Kadari clicker, which I am, there is no way I would ever out myself on a show and say I'm not a Kadari guy. You're never going to hear that from me. Like, it's probably the best DFS guard in the nation. You know, it's not really a great matchup for him in this case. Like, Creighton doesn't turn the ball over. They protect the rim extremely well. Trey Alexander's a good defender in his own right. I still think he's safe for 31 to 34 plus, you know, in this spot. But I kind of agree with you. It's going to be tough to get to the 50. And then when you look at like Dawes, I'm not going to play Alamir Dawes against a team that has like the fifth lowest defensive 3-point rate and running you off the line, because he needs to be able to shoot over the top of you. So it's like, I don't think I'm playing Adewusu at that price, because like the theme of this slate is the 7K range. It has so many options. So it's like, yeah, 6A Daw, I'm not going to get there. Yeah, having Daw and Dawes on the same team is so annoying. But like on a slate with low value, if you get mid-20s minutes from Mason Miller at 4.2, I'd mix him in the pool a little bit. Just because I don't think there's any real standout values, I'm pretty sure. But I think he's in the mix for, you know, one of these punt plays to get a bunch of these spend ups.
Where are you at with Trey Alexander? This is the lowest price we've seen on him in well over a year.
Yeah, I'm not really in the business of playing people against Kadari. I mean, we even saw Kadari just smother Tyler Kolek. Like, so you're not going to see me playing any Trey Alexander today with how low to the 7K range is.
Yeah, good point. All right, because he does project well, so that's a good.
Yeah, he's a good player, no doubt.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We just talked about Kolek. We got Marquette at St. John's. I took some Marquette -1. I was surprised to see the line go the other way. I guess St. John's a pretty public team. I'm seeing St. John's -1.5 right now, Gav. 156.5 total. What do you think here? Interesting game. I don't think they're playing this on campus. I think this is like one of those neutral games. I'm not sure the arena. I'll
MSG, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
When I clicked the home, it was MSG.
Yeah. What do you think here stylistically?
Yeah, you know, like Johnny's off the 2 straight losses. They, you know, played Creighton to a point in Nebraska. Then they lost by Seton Hall by 15. There was some stuff like, you know, the team might not be fully sick or might not be fully healthy, as we saw, like with Dingle missing, being sick. So both those games were on the road. Now they're back home at MSG. I'm going to be staying away from betting wise, but man, in this case, like we know Marquette is going to run a ton of pick and roll, and the Johnnies are 305th points per possession, defending it at the 31st highest rate because teams are trying to attack Soriano in the ball screen game. So Johnnies have to win on the O glass here. You know, they also have 2 losses where they've grabbed over 40% of their misses. They were bludgeoned inside both those times. We know Marquette's going to attack the rim plenty. So, yeah, I'm off it from a betting perspective. Total keeps climbing, so it's just getting more interesting with DFS, especially with kind of the injury question marks surrounding players in this game.
Yeah, Kurt, we've got Jordan Dingle missed the game with an illness earlier this week. We haven't heard yet if he's going to be active here. I bet Marquette. I think it's a good spot to get in on them here. But for DFS, the prices are high. We see Oso over 8K here, Kolek 8.7. I think I would play Kadari before I'd play Kolek, just with the safety. Any DFS thoughts here? We do have a low price on Soriano as well.
All right, if I start chopping up again, just put me on mute. My parents' Wi-Fi is so bad. I think it's close. Like, I mean, I think I might lean Kolek depending on what the 300 gets you. But yeah, it's too close. If Dingle misses again, I kind of have like a 2%er like Q play. I like RJ Lewis. Like I think he's shook the stomach bug. If Dingle's out, I mean, his fantasy point per minute numbers are pretty solid. I know a lot of factors go into St. John's, who's been available and shit like that. But I think if you want a 2% guy, I don't mind him. Soriano is probably going to pop up eventually. But, I mean, like, there's a chance he doesn't, but I'm probably going to play. I'm going to have him or Lewis and probably have my lineups one or the other. I don't think I need a run back, too, because Marquette's so appropriately priced. I don't think I need a run back. I'm only playing one, but still.
Yeah, Gav, I think it's tough to get to these Marquette guys. But Soriano, man, sitting at 7.5 is pretty interesting. What do you think DFS-wise here?
Oh, man, I'm going to lose so much money playing Soriano today. It's going to be insane. But, dude, this guy was like over 9K early in the season. There was like this you saw, if you search Joel Soriano on Twitter, you'll see like 16 different news outlets with this caption of Soriano didn't like himself in the game film and promises a better effort, yada, yada. So there's a little bit of narrative there, but dude, does it get much better than a matchup at home against a road Marquette team like who really doesn't have a center? Soriano could absolutely paste here. If 2% of the field plays RJ Luis, that's just 2% of the field. I don't have to worry about doing anything today. And you might be all 2% of that, Kurt.
He's going to fucking smash today.
I think RJ.
What is your hatred?
Is a terrible play.
No. First of all, in college basketball, a guy that starts 6,200 and is posted those fantasy minute numbers is not a bad play at 2%. That's just egregious. That's egregious to say a 2% guy with those fantasy minute numbers is a bad play.
I don't think that's a good play either. I think Ledlam has legit like 40 points.
Guys, it's 2%. Like, I'm not going to come on here and say, oh, 50%. I'm giving you a 2% play, guys.
I think Ledlam's a better play than.
Okay, I don't mind that. I'll live with that. I'll take that. Yeah. Now that's how you criticize Gavin. Give me a 1v1.
You know, we saw Naheem Aline start last game. But he fouled his ass off, so we didn't even get to enjoy that 4K price. I actually played him on main and was so pissed when he fouled. But I mean, shit. Glenn Taylor, 3.8. I'm not saying jam him. He's not, a great play, but again, I think in the pool of these mix-in punts, and the floor is 6 minutes. The ceiling is like 20 fantasy points probably.
Yeah. All right. If we're on to Glenn Taylor, it's time to move on. Let's go to the Big Ten here. Penn State at Ohio State. Ken Palm's got Penn State 106. I still think that's light. I've been betting Penn State a lot lately. DK's got it. Ohio State minus 9.5. I took Penn State plus 10 when it opened. Total's up, I think, here, Gav, to 149. What do you think about this game here?
Yeah, this is a pretty teed up spot for Ohio State here. Off 3 straight losses, at Indiana and Michigan, and then versus Wisconsin, which is fine, but 355th in momentum, so this is about as cheap of a team as you're going to find in the market, but they are 6-10-1 on the year ATS. Penn State's off the big Wisconsin win at home when we took them as a dog. Now, if you remember this first game, I think that Ohio State was up by 18 in the second half at one point, and Penn State stormed back at home. They shot like 61% in the second half and barely squeaked out. I think it was like a 3-point win, like 83-80 or something like that. Yeah. But we know we're going to get with Penn State. It's going to be 95th percentile press defense frequency. Ohio State's pretty average, in breaking press and being efficient. That is what allowed Penn State to get back in the game last time. For what it's worth, it is picking up that press more. But Penn State also number 1 in pick and roll frequency in the nation. So Ohio State 10th best point per possession defending it. So kind of for me, I think hurts Clary and Ace a little bit more now, especially on the road. Clary did get 19 at Penn State the first time. It was pretty inefficient. And DeMarco Dunn had 20 off the bench, but doesn't really have a role here. So, yeah, it's kind of a sneaky game. I don't think much ownership at all is going to fall in this game. And I think there's some guys here who could 4 or 5X in this spot.
Yeah, I get the good spot for Ohio State. I've been taking Penn State getting a lot of points, and they've done really well for me this year. I like how they can kind of stay in games with their shooting and Clary. But I do get this situational spot here for Ohio State. DFS-wise, I agree. I think the Penn State guys are overpriced on the road here, Clary and Ace. I think the Ohio State guys are super interesting. I'll start with Akpara. I did not expect him to have a 30-plus minute role on this team, Gav. He's played 30-plus in 3 straight. He's 6,600 here. We have a great projection on Akpara. Thoughts on him? Actually, I'll go to you, Kurt. I think Ohio State's got 4 guys in play. I think Thornton, Battle, Gale, and Akpar are all good plays. I think Thornton and Akpar are great plays here. Do you have any favorites on Ohio State, Kurt?
I kind of agree with Gav. It's a really sneaky game, but like, a couple of these guys are really going to fail. So it's really like picking the right one. And if you have a lean, I would just trust your gut. Like, I think the guy in the chat said Ace Baldwin. I'm not going to go there, but like, I think it's fine if you fall on one of these guys. I think that gross ass stack I couldn't fit Akpar in. That's kind of how I've been doing on most of my builds so far. I'm like 300, 200 short of Akpar, and it's like, damn, I can't jam him in. I like the play. I'm sure I'll find hopefully, I'm going to find a non-organic way to get him into my lineups. But I don't know. It's tough. I just feel like this game is going to let me down no matter what I choose, and there will be guys that go off. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those because it is a sneaky game. Like, both these teams have been very fantasy friendly. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Ohio State has an 80 total here, Gav. Do you have any lean on Akpara or a Thornton or anything like that here?
I thought about it the same way as you. Thornton and Akpara for me ahead of Battle and Gale pretty clearly. Thornton, man, it's a pretty damn good spot. That being said, dude, there are some absolute dudes in that 7K range that you're foregoing in order to play a guy like that, you know?
Yeah. He's the same price as Soriano.
Dula, Sears, Tremont Mark's going to take 50. There's a lot of guys in that 7K range, so you can't miss. But he is going to be a contrarian spend for a larger field and key stuff. But I know Akpara will be on at least one of my 3 lineups in the qualifier today.
Yeah, were you expecting him to have this minutes roll here?
Not 30-plus minutes. I thought that he could be the best rim protector in the Big Ten, not named Zach Edey, coming into the year, but on stretches of like 18 to 22 minutes. I didn't think he'd be playing 30. So, yeah, this role, if he's going to play 30 minutes, he's going to smash this 6.6K price a lot more often than he's not.
Right.
Can't foul, and he's got to get a couple buckets. So, you know, it's
but
mostly on defense.
Who's gonna draw fouls on him for Penn State? I mean, Hobbs, he's not gonna draw fouls. So
I'm just gonna foul out in this game.
Exactly what I'm saying. Like, no one's gonna draw fouls down low. So holy shit. I mean, if he gets 35, it had to be fouls, like just stupid fouls, like reaching over the back, and that does happen. But man, really a nut spot.
Yeah, Gav, Akpara, 11.4% block percentage. That's 11th in the country right now. You don't get many guys playing 30 minutes with that block rate under 7K. I think Akbar is a great play here. All right, let's move on. We got Baylor at Texas, Big 12. Ken Palm's got Baylor 15th, Texas 48th. They've stumbled a bit of late, Gav. DK's got it Texas minus 2.5, 146.5 total. We saw some pretty frustrating performances earlier this week from both of the studs on this team. Ray J. Dennis could have absolutely nuked that slate. He had a great peripheral game. Shot like 2 of 15 from the field. I know you played him on your main. And then Dessou fouled in his last game. I'm not sure if that was the same slate, but had 4 fouls pretty quickly. We get a price dip here. He was really owned on that last slate. I think there might be some recency bias here, and we might get him a bit lower owned here. What do you think about this game, Gav?
Yeah, you said Texas stumbled. I mean, they're dangling upside down from their balcony right now. Like, they just lost 3 of their last 4. 2 of those were at UCF and at West Virginia and versus UCF at home. Both were shot quality justified. Like, they clearly lost those games. You know, Baylor's off the tough loss at the Octagon of Doom. That was a 28-point analytical flip that, you know, I think Baylor shot like 3 of 22 from 3 or something as the number 1 3-point team in the nation. But they're also 356th away from home. All 3 of their losses have come away from home, and like their last road game, they barely beat a dog shit Oklahoma State team in overtime.
Yeah.
Baylor's also 10-5-1 ATS, whereas you have, you know, Texas at 5-12. So yeah, everyone's going to make a big deal about the Rodney Terry, you know, horns down thing. I kind of agree with the line move in terms of Texas. This is a desperate as shit spot for him. And, you know, Terry is going to be telling them the whole week, you know, look what they did to you, the horns down on your own floor, yada, yada. I think they come out locked in here. Texas ranks 71st on shot quality, man. It's not a very schematically sound team. they're outside the top 200 in turnover rate. They turn it over a ton. It's a bad 3-point defense without any regression. So yeah, it bodes well to have a lot of points if teams are knocking down their shots.
Yeah, I think this is Texas or pass if you're betting it. I agree there. I stayed away. I just don't. It's hard to
I'm not
put
betting
your
Texas right now.
Yeah, it's hard to put your hard-earned money on Texas at this point. But yeah, I agree that it would be Texas or pass. Kurt, for DFS, we saw Dessou foul last game, price down to 6.6. He's the same price as Gale or as Okpara here. Any thoughts on him? And then Ray J. Dennis, another one of these guys in the 7K range that's got 40+ upside. What do you think DFS-wise here?
First of all, I just realized why I wasn't really following on Akpara, and don't. I was early in the morning when I'm building these teams, but it's because I'm jamming in different price points. But I'm jamming in Dessou or Adu in most of my builds, so that's probably why I'm kind of not able to get to Akpara. And yes, I just realized that because it's early in the morning when I'm building, so don't give me shit. But that's my rule. I want Dessou or Adu. I know there's like $600 difference, but for some reason that's just kind of been where I'm starting my lineups. One of those two guys. I don't get anyone else really right here. And granted, the one time I got Dessou right, he was like 3K. So I definitely not playing anyone on Baylor. I think this is also tough for me. So leave it to you and Gav. But Dessou is probably the only play in this game for me.
Yeah, Gav, great spot, great bounce back spot here for Dessou. We get the discount on him. And then I don't know. I kind of want to go right back to Ray J. Dennis. He grinded his way to 30 DK going 2 of 15 from the field. What do you think here, DFS wise?
Yeah, just keep twisting the knife with Ray J. But yeah, I think Dessou's pretty clearly the best play in this game. If he doesn't foul, he's going to smash that 6.6K price. Like not just more often, but way more often than not. He's probably at least 1K underpriced, for the role that he's going to take on in full duty. We saw it last year in the tournament. Shoots his ass off. He also fouls his ass off. He's got 4 more fouls in 4 straight games. So maybe Akpara gives you a little bit more safety in that regard, but Dessou's going to have a usage and shot share that Akpara can't even dream of in 10 games. Yeah, Dylan Mitchell. I can't believe people are still playing Dylan Mitchell with Dessou back. Like, if you look at any on-off site, like his usage, rebounding both sides of the ball just skyrocketed without Dessou. So he got helped out last game by a Dessou foul game. So I'm kind of hoping people click Mitchell right here in this spot. I won't be, but can I interest you in any qualifier Misi?
Yeah, I was going to bring him up. I was also going to say the exact thing on Dylan Mitchell, so I don't have to repeat it. Yeah, Misi under 6K. We haven't seen him under 6K since he basically got this role, right, Gav? Why don't you expand on that?
Yeah. What was the game that last game that he went nuts? Was it Oklahoma State, I think, where he kind of established himself and then, he fouled the next couple games and he's definitely going to have foul issues. Just mega athlete.
Yeah.
Ton of block upside, elite rebounder, really constrained to scoring within 2-3 feet, but this is a guy with 40-point upside, sub 6K, in a great game environment. Maybe not 40, he hasn't done it this year, so maybe like 35 plus would kind of be more like his ceiling. But shit, if you get 30 from him, and he's going to be low owned. That's the type of play you do in large field or qualifier stuff. Yeah,
I love him in the queue. I think the breakout game was that Duke game, but then the Oklahoma State game was also good. That was the double-double, I think. So yeah, love that call in the queue. For me, it's going to be Dennis, Misi, and Dessou from this game. We didn't touch on if Horton Gav.
Yeah.
He entered the starting 5 last game. I think if he starts again, he's a borderline like core play, right? Like
what? If he starts, he's core. What are the chances? What are the chances that Rodney Terry started him because they were playing his former team, like on some dumb shit,
I think there's at least a 20% chance that's true.
Yeah,
that happens in EuroLeague all the time.
He's a must monitor. Like if he's not in the starting lineup, his floor is 10 minutes in this spot. So you just don't know.
Now I will say, I forgot to bring it up at the start of the show, Gav. We've got like 6 or 7 games locking in that first window. Texas is one of them, so we'll know if Horton's starting from the jump there. All right, let's move on here. My boys. The Hokies are at NC State. God, what a frustrating season it's been for Tech. 63rd at KenPom, 65th at KenPom for NC State. DK's got an NC State minus 4.5, 146.5 on the tote. Here, Gav, game thoughts, Tech and NC State.
Yeah, VT, 2 straight losses after the really impressive Clemson win. They've now lost 4 of their last 5, and they're on the second leg of a road back-to-back post-rivalry game. So this spot don't bode that well for them. NC State don't look now 5-1 in ACC play. Last 2 wins are analytical losses by small margin for what it's worth. The team feels kind of paper tigerish, but they're top 10 in allowing turnovers. They're 70th in forcing them. Another team, 96th percentile press defense, and you don't really press Virginia Tech well. These teams that move slow, that are very methodical, they're just much tougher to press. But yeah, NC State 10th highest post-up rate for Burns/Diarra. VT, for what it's worth, is top 50 in defending post-up sets. They're also 324th in rim defense point per possession. So they're absolutely beatable, especially by guys who can get downhill. So yeah, I might have to look at some of these NC State guys. And then you got, Couture returning, I think is a really interesting look here too on this game.
Yeah, we just can't afford to take Couture off the court. I think he's going to play. I think you can easily project him for 35 plus minutes here, Kurt. I like Couture there in the mid-range of 5.7. I think he might be a bit under projected around the industry here. I think he's got ceiling for 30 here in a matchup in an up-tempo game. NC State doesn't scare you too much defensively. Thoughts on Couture here? And then on the NC State side, we saw DJ Burns was like sick or just wasn't right in that game. They kept taking him out. So Mo Diarra and Middlebrooks played a bunch more than they usually do. We saw Diarra grab like 13 or 14 rebounds. DFS thoughts here, Kurt?
First of all, I feel like Couture, a lot of people are going to say, oh, he's a good play. And then when they come down to hand building, they're just not going to click on Hunter Couture. I will. I think he's a borderline core play. And I think in a bad game, like, he's not going to nuke your lineups. And I just like the price tag. Under 6K, guards are pretty valuable, which is another reason why I don't think people get to him. Robbie Barron, just keeps fouling like a maniac, but has been awesome when he's starting. I know a road matchup against these guys is in the best case to where, hey, he's going to stop fouling now. But I'm really liking the Dave. Somehow, by the grace of God, he stays out of foul trouble. I think he puts up a good number. I don't want him work. I mean, they negative correlate, but I don't want 2 Virginia Tech guys. And then Burns, I wish there was a big Q today. I wish there was a $30 Q. I think Burns would be an awesome Q play, but I don't think you really need it to the 250. But large flow GPP is like the main. You go with Burns. A couple really good random price range, like the mid 5Ks. So I like the 2 mid 5K plays in this range that I feel like it's not going to be popular today. So Burns, Couture, and I'm not going to Diarra. I'm scared about the minutes, what they're doing with that. So just give me Burns and hope he gets full minutes.
Yeah, Gav, I have a really hard time seeing Couture hurt you today. I think he's got a floor of 20 and upside for 30 plus here. I think he's the best play in the game. And then do you have a read on the front court situation for NC State? I'm not sure if you saw the deal with Burns last game. He kept going to the locker room. I'm not sure if he had the shits or something, but
he was probably hungry, bro. He needed to put down another double cheeseburger at timeout. That fucking guy.
Yeah. What's your?
I agree with you on Couture. I think Couture is a main line type guy, whereas Misi in that price range, there's no way I'm mainline Eve Misi, at kind of the high 5s. But yeah, I don't really know what to make of this front court situation. If the backup guys, Middlebrooks and Diarra, are now priced up $1,000 from where they were kind of a slate or two ago, and I just think both of them just suck at basketball. So, yeah, it's at home. Yeah, it's a great matchup. I actually think, believe it or not, Jaden Taylor isn't a terrible play either here. If he's going to play full minutes and play against a team that struggles guarding downhill drivers and defending the rim, kind of bodes pretty well for him. So, Taylor's not in a terrible spot. You're going to need the scoring because the peripherals aren't great, but I think he's also in your pool as well at 5'4", kind of a last man in type.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Next game, Miami at Syracuse, another ACC tilt here. Really disappointing season so far for Miami, Gav. They are down to 66 at KenPom, coming off that home loss to Florida State. Like they've lost to Louisville and Florida State in the last 2 weeks, both at home here. We've got DK's got Syracuse -1. The total has been steaming up. I saw mid 150s last night. When I redid the playbook this morning, I saw 160 is what it hit. Really good DFS game here, Gab. But let's talk about the game first before the DFS plays. What do you got here?
Yeah, you mentioned the Miami losses. I mean, holy shit. You know, they've always been a team that's kind of on and off in terms of whether they're plugged in or not. They get up for big games, and they're just miserable ATS against teams where they're double-digit spread favorites. So, yeah, should they lose those games? Absolutely not. They did. They weren't fully healthy. I think they're getting close to full health if they're not there yet. You know, Pack may still be lingering with a little bit. We'll see about Wooga, but yeah, Syracuse off the win at Pitt when Pitt has shot miserably at home and ruined my fucking over. But 2 top 60 tempo teams, 2 teams top 40 in transition efficiency. And we've seen Syracuse play a lot of mid-70 possession games this year.
Yeah.
73 projection for possession count on this game may be light. I took the I think it was 156 over at open. Miami 290th in rim defense efficiency. 290th in rim defense frequency, which means like Judah Mintz is going to be able to get to the cup. Nigel Pack is not really someone known to stay in front of fast athletic guards well. Omier is going to get the rebounding bump because Cuse is outside the top 275, rebounding on both sides. And if you look at like the last 3 without McLeod, the rebounding is even worse, like on the Bart Torvik stuff. So yeah, Cuse is currently 34th adjusted defensive efficiency, but opponents are due a ton of positive shooting aggression. So we'll see. I don't know if this is the spot because Miami's due some negative shooting aggression. It's not really, and they're on the road, but coming up here, opponents at some point are going to start hitting shots against Syracuse.
Yeah. Miami's also been due negative shooting regression for about 3 seasons now. They just have tough shot makers.
Yeah, we did last year when you had Wong and Miller, you could do it. This year, it doesn't look like you can do that as much.
Yeah. Kurt, 160 tote here. Lots of good plays in this game. I think this is just a smash spot here for Judah Mintz, as Gav said. Another one of those mid 7K range plays that has big time upside. What are your DFS thoughts here, Kurt?
Yeah, I thought it was a must play against Pitt. It was good to me, and I think that was the night Trey Alexander cucked me, or us. I love him here. If I'm not playing him, I'm not playing Copeland or someone else, and I think someone is going to get there, so I'll just go sprinkle some J.J. Starling. I do want one of those guys, another one of my little rules I got going. Miami, I'm not making it a must, but, like, Gavin Dry, I could see, like, I mean, I was watching the Pitt game, and I was like, holy shit, they just missed so many shots. Can't really test the rest, but like you said, I guess the stats back it up, or someone's going to get hot against them. So you got to think it could be popular, 7,300. It's going to be a great total. If I had to pick a Miami guy, probably him and then Omier. Omir's going to give me, like, he's going to go for 35 again, and I'm just not going to have him because I like this. I think the 6K guys can outscore, the 6K forwards can outscore him. And if I'm paying up, I'll find $2,000 in the backyard, maybe laying around, and just get Mr. E-Day. Easier said than done. So those are about 2 plays. I want Mintz or Starling, and then give me Poplar or Amir Pack. Cleveland sucks, dude. I'm so glad Florida State suck it to him. But this could be a game where he gets a double-double and maybe throws an assist. This could be a game where he first triple-double. But fuck him. Not playing him. Just those 2 guys for me, and emphasis on the rule of one of the Syracuse guards. Not named.
Yeah, Gab, I think this one's straightforward DFS-wise. It's Mintz, I think, is going to be a core play for me. So it's Mintz, and then on the Miami side, your good plays are Wooga and Omier. Your contrarian guys are Cleveland and Pack. I think it's pretty straightforward. Starling's going to be your scoring-only guard, but when you have a 79 team total, I think that's a reasonable play, at least in the low 5K range. What do you think, DFS-wise?
Yeah, Mintz in a tier of his own in terms of quality of play. I think Omier is very clearly a better play than Wooga here, just with the matchup. There's multiple guards on Miami to spread it around, whereas Omier's going to get, all the center minutes, all the kind of center usage. Malik Brown is athletic, but definitely undersized. And Omier should be able to push him around on the block pretty well. Like, I think Omier is going to be a core play for me. This is like 50 ceiling with like 35, 40 tight medium projection, I think, which I'm just going to play.
It's a first surprise of the slate. I did not think you were going to core him. Good enough. Yeah, I mean, in the mid 8.5s, I mean, we have a median projection of like 38 on him. And like you said, the matchup's great. So, yeah, I think it's Omir, Wooga, Mintz. And then, if you want a game stack this game, this game could go absolutely nuts. So I do like it. All right.
That's last point. If you are if you're going to play anything outside of Omir and or Mintz, then I would say you probably don't need to play just one more. You probably need to play at least 2 more pieces from this game if you're going the full game stack.
Yeah, like add in another Miami piece and
Starling. And like a budget and a budget Syracuse, whether it's Starling, whether it's fucking Benny Williams or whatever.
We don't play Benny Williams here. All right, let's go to another game here. Louisville is on the slate again for some reason. Louisville at Wake. Wake's been our team for the last, I don't know, when did Efton Reed start playing for them? They are coming off the loss at NC State. It's a weird game overall. Keats got tossed early. There were a bunch of technicals in that game. Hunter Salas got ejected, picked up 3 fouls in like 20 seconds in the first half. Just a weird game for Wake overall. DK's got Wake minus 14.5, 151.5 total here, Gav. There's not a chance in hell I'm playing any Louisville guys on a 12-game slate. The big news for Wake is Damari Monsanto is reportedly going to make his debut today, which is awesome for them as a team. For DFS, though, Gav, I think it kind of muddles the waters a bit because they've just been riding their 5, and it's been pretty clear in DFS that, you can just kind of pick whoever is in the price range that you kind of like from Boopy Miller, Salas, Reed, Carr, Hildreth. I'm not sure how much Monsanto is going to play. I kind of want to wait and see. And with, in a game that I think they could win this by 20, I'm not entirely sure that I want to click these guys. But then again, they have an 80-14 total. What do you got here?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to break into game notes when you talk about Louisville. Look, Wake's kind of in an interesting spot. They just lost at NC State. They lost their previous road game at Florida State. They're back home in a hammer spot. They also have a quick Monday turnaround at UNC. That might be, any look ahead stuff might be the only way that Louisville keeps this close, because if you don't foul Louisville, they will shoot themselves right out of the game themselves. Wake 119th in defensive free throw rate at home, feel pretty good about the crush. But yeah, if Monsanto was 3-7, I think you could take some stabs and he still might only play 6 minutes, but at 5-7, it's an easy cross off for me. What it does for the rotation, I think is going to be interesting. Like, Salas probably loses that 35 plus minute projection. I think Boopy Miller's still pretty safe for his role, but like, I think Hildreth is going to get slotted out because the shot gravity that Monsanto commands, like, dude, this is a 40% 3-point shooter on over 200 attempts last year, like a fucking fireballer from outer space when he gets going. So it's going to be interesting. But yeah, I don't think he plays a ton here. We're definitely going to have to see it first. But the Wake guys are going to go under own. They could easily score 90 here if they want to stay fully focused. Like,
yeah.
They've changed the defense that I think even bodes better for Louisville. Like, remember last year Wake was a super compact defense because they had no rim protection, so they had to double team down low and stuff. Now they're a rim funnel with Efton Reed. They're running folks off the 3-point line, kind of like Creighton does. Like Steve Forbes is just so sick. But yeah, I still think that the Wake guards are in play in this slate with Monsanto, but it could be like in the next slate or two that these guys become much more dicey because they're going to lose their 37-plus minute roles.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we were playing them, because, Forbes is just jamming them for the entire game. I just think it adds a little more uncertainty here, Kurt, to the Wake guys' minutes ceiling. I do agree with Gav, though. I think Boopy Miller is the most safe here of the 5. I could see Hildreth and Salas getting squeezed a bit. Any thoughts here, DFS-wise, Kurt?
I'm with you. I'm just going to stay away. Like, it's a good matchup. They can end up killing him, and maybe it doesn't even matter. Monsanto's going to even his limited minutes, he's just going to come in and absolutely truck. He's the bane of my existence. He's going to make this Wake team, unless they drop in prices severely, they're going to be kind of annoying as far as like what their ceilings can be when he's fully healthy. So wait and see. And Louisville, with everyone healthy, is a hard pass. Everyone is trained.
Yeah, but I think this is great for Wake as a team. I'm going to continue to buy Wake. Like Ken Palm's got them getting 10 at UNC on Monday. Probably be interested in that.
Especially if they don't cover the spread this game, and maybe this game is a little bit closer, you still might get an extra point or two of value on that. I don't mind that.
Yeah. Any last thoughts here, Gav?
No, what do we say? Louisville, pretty full cross off. Like Williams priced up, Tyler, no, Trey and Sky, no. But yeah, ranking the guards, I would say I'd probably rank them, as their price. Boopy, Salas, Hildreth, but I don't think I'm going to play any Hildreth in this spot.
Yeah, I think it would be Boopy or pass for me. I think Boopy's interesting, like in the queue or something, just because he does have big-time ceiling. All right, let's go to the SEC. South Carolina, surprise team this year, 73rd at Ken Palm. Arkansas, disappointing team, 89th at Ken Palm. Gav, it is weird seeing Arkansas down at 89th after the last couple seasons with Muss. They're laying 3.5 here at home, 142 tote. This is an interesting spot on the slate. Let me see what time this game locks. This is not in the first window. This is the first game of the 1 p.m. Eastern window. The big news here is who is Muss going to start? We saw him completely blow up the starting five last game because of the struggles of the team. We know that he is bound to do this at some point when they do struggle. So coming off the 3 losses, he benched Menafield and a couple other guys and started LLSC, started Chandler Lawson, and didn't play Mekhi Mitchell at all. So yeah, this is an interesting spot here, Gab. I think it's the biggest news spot of the entire slate because Ellis is cheap, Chandler Lawson is cheap, and we do need value. But let's talk about the game overall first. What do you think? Game notes here.
Yeah, Arkansas is off their kind of desperation home rally win against a Texas A&M team that just went to overtime with Kentucky the game before. It's kind of similar to when they played Duke at Bud Walton, off a multi-game losing streak. But
yeah,
man, this might be the team of Musses that I hop off. Oh boy, I don't believe in this team for shit. You have just such duplicative skill sets with Menafield, Ellis, Tremont Mark, Battle. All 4 guys are pretty similar.
And we talked about this
shooters
on the SEC preview show, Gav.
It looked like the roster, now that we see it play out over a couple months, it looks like Muss logged into the portal and he typed in the search bar inefficient volume shooter, and he just picked the top 4 guys and said, all right, I'm done recruiting for the cycle. It's just a mess, man. So if you're gonna play a guy, I bet people click some Tremont Mark. I'm not going to, given that what the price range that he's at with the game environment in South Carolina. This game last year, Arkansas was faster last year, and this game played to 62 possessions. This thing could grind down. South Carolina's going to force him to play in the half court, which is obviously where they struggled. Guessing the lineup. I don't think even if you start, I don't think it means a whole lot because how many times have we seen Mekhi Mitchell start, play 4 minutes and just get yanked? Muscle yank a starter and sit him the rest of the game for X, Y, and Z reasons. So
here's my read on it. So he blew it up. They won at home against A&M. I think he's going to run the same starting 5 out. He's trying to find what's going to work. I have more concern with what you're saying, with the front court guys. I think he's going to start LLS and stick with LLS. I think LLS is God, I almost called him safe, but I have the most confidence that he's going to start and play decent minutes. Now I'm saying that about a Muss team, so it could all go to shit quick, but I'm pretty sure that I'm going to play LLS if he starts. Kurt, what are your thoughts on this game DFS wise?
First of all, as far as Muss goes, as to how he thought he couldn't, he didn't need to go out and replace Jordan Walsh, on defense. his ability to go out in the portal and get guys, there had to be someone out there, and obviously Gavin could attest to this of who the hell it would be. I don't have the brain capacity to do that, but there was someone out there who could have been at least been a floor manager replacement for Jordan Walsh. And throwing like Walsh and Davis out there and then surrounding them with the inefficient guys, it kind of covers your ass a little bit and just enough. And God, they're just missing him so much. I kind of agree with you. I think they can run the same thing because it worked. So as to how long the leash will be, we have no idea. I'm willing to take the chance and kind of see. That's the 1 o'clock game. So like you probably have to pivot to a South Carolina guy and kind of pray there. But one of the three cheap guys between like Davis, Wright, and Ellis, one of them is bound to get there, right? So you can just kind of pray that you have the right piece to go along through that lineup. That's my take there. And I don't know if I'm a big Brazil guy. You got me my ticket, but yeah, can't go there. And South Carolina, I am probably locking Michi Johnson. Kind of view him as Couture. I don't think he can hurt me, and I think the ceiling can be pretty nice. So I really like Michi here.
Yeah, Gav,
he's got like 25% usage.
Yeah, I like Michi at 6'9" as well. He's kind of priced really close to guys that we love, though, Gav. What I didn't bring up is Miles Studi is going to miss this game. I think this is another opportunity for value with like a Zach Davis or a Jacoby Wright. Do you have any read on that situation there for South Carolina? I'm looking up now. I don't think so Studi hasn't missed a game this season. Who do you think is the best replacement for him? And DFS thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Jacoby Wright's been playing a little bit more than Davis. I tend to think Davis is a little bit safer, I think gives you a little bit better peripherals. But yeah, the thing that they're going to miss with Studi is the shot gravity. So it could be mixing both those guys in. It could be playing more Murray Boyles like they have been. The minutes have gotten messy on South Carolina. So it's probably, like a lot of people are going to click Michi. I don't think I'm going to play any of them just in the price range that he's at. But yeah, I think you're going all the way up or all the way down in this game. That being said, I don't think it's a terrible spot for like a last man in Trevon Brazil. Been running terrible in the block department. South Carolina's 342nd in offensive block percentage. He's playing 32 minutes every game. He's at home. He's like him and Mark are the only two assets you can trust on the team. If I click on a Brazil last man in, I'm probably just immediately saving and going.
Keeping the light on for Brazil. I love it. LL's played 32 minutes last game in the start. It's tough to ignore at 3.8 on this slate when we're trying to jam the 7K range and we have Edie. All right, let's move on. San Diego State at Boise. Ken Palm's got it 69-68. Lower total here, Gav. We've seen a bunch of totals 150 plus. This one's 137.5. I believe it's the lowest on the slate. What do we got here?
Yeah, lowest on the slate. These two games last year, they played at 60 and 59 possessions. It was a little bit different of a San Diego State team in terms of scheme, but they're still at pretty similar tempo marks as last year. So this thing could really drag them out, dogfight type. I think it's a sneaky good spot for Boise here. Like San Diego State's traveled from San Diego to San Jose, then to New Mexico, then back to San Diego, then now back to Boise. That's a lot of travel for the Mountain West. Boise is 30 spots below San Diego State and Ken Palm, but they're slightly above them in shot quality, so it's a better shot selection team. That being said, Boise's also 351st in post-up defense, point per possession. So this could be another Ladae Feast spot. I mean, goddamn, he's been so good this year. Pretty decent rebounding team, but yeah, I think really ugly game environment overall. So it's not going to be one that I'm trying to build around by any means.
Yeah, same here. I think it's probably a D or pass. Huge projection on him here, despite the low total. We saw Trammell miss last game, and Lamont Butler played a lot. He's also in the mix there in the low 5K range, I think. Kurt, any DFS plays for you in the Boise-San Diego State game?
Trammell, absolute hero for us last week. That was so fun. And my call on Cisse didn't pan out, even though he played decent. But, man, that was fun with him. Yeah. Now he gets the price up, and he's questionable. Hard pass me on this game. I'll save us some time. We'll get caught up here. No, for this game, I'm not going to be mad at someone that plays the day. I'm not going to say, oh, it's a dumb play. I think it's a fine play. But yeah, just no one here. Just quick X for me. I'm probably gonna go ahead and X out the OU Cincy game for me as well. So Gavin, stage is yours.
Gav, we just got
Actually,
huge news.
What?
Ohio State is going to be missing Scotty Middleton today, so adjust your slate
That's not
accordingly.
news. I think so. I think the only reason that San Diego State guys come into play in this spot is one, if Trammell misses, you might not have that news because it's an hour after the big window. But like if you wanted to, if you get stuck on an L. Ellis at this time slot, an L. Ellis or any of these cheap Arkansas guys, I think if Trammell also misses this game, then you can go to like a Miles Bird potentially in this spot in a pinch. Like otherwise, like you're really stuck at that price range for the later slate. So I think that's the only reason those guys come into play.
Yeah, I think Bird's reasonable, and I mentioned Butler. He played 35 minutes with no Trammell last game. I think it was just an illness though, so probably going to be back here. All right, let's move on. OU, Cincy, two teams in the top 30 at KenPom. Surprising season, at least for me, for Cincy. Gav, DK's got it Cincy minus 3.5, 142 total here. Kind of a lower scoring game. I think this is a tough matchup for Cincy. They've had a big week here. Man, they're 27th at KenPom. That is wild. They're coming off that insane TCU win that should never have gone to overtime. If you missed the end of that game, both TCU and Cincinnati missed 3 straight front ends of a 1-and-1 with under 5 seconds left.
While fouling 90 feet from the basket. Both teams.
They were all over the backs on rebounds too. Gavin, game thoughts here.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting schematic matchup. Like, Cincy wants to play really big, rebound well. They're top 15 on both sides of the ball in that regard. Oklahoma wants to spread you out and beat you off the dribble and hunt mismatches with kind of their 3 guards. So it's going to be a pretty interesting spot here. Cincy, an elite post-up rate team at a really high frequency, so probably get a bump to Locken and Bandego. But dude, Cincy is 2-2 in conference. They could be 4-0. They have 2 one-possession losses at home against Texas and at Baylor. So I don't know if this team should be 0-4 or 4-0. I still don't know if this team is for real or not, so I won't bet it. Now with Bandego back, the rotation is really muddled. So yeah, it's probably not going to be like a primary game that I'm targeting. But there could be some spots here.
Yeah, I'm not going to chase the Cincy guys. I'm hoping that people click like Dede Thomas or Skillings over the mid 6K guys that we've been talking about on this show. I think OA is a decent play in the mid 6K range. He got our guy Turtle the win in the big GPP the other night with what was like 5 or 6 steals, and Soares off the bench. And Soares off the bench has been kind of ascending. Like his role's been good. He's been playing well. He's a key piece for OU. I think you can add him into the mix in that mid 4K range. Anything from this game, Kurt?
The OU game?
Yeah.
No, hard pass.
All right. We got a couple of awesome games to close us out here. Bama at Tennessee. Huge total here. It's actually come down. It came down from 162 to 157.5, Gav. I'm seeing Tennessee minus 5.5. I grabbed the Tennessee minus 5 when it opened. Love this spot here for Tennessee. What do you think?
Yeah, the game last year played to 69 possessions, and we know that Tennessee team was much slower. So, this I think could be an easy 72 plus kind of possession game. Like Bama's 6 straight wins, they're 4-0 in the conference, but their only top 70 win was at Mississippi State, who, if Bama we know is going to shoot a ton of threes, right? Against the Mississippi State pack line, if Bama hits their shots, there's nothing Mississippi State can do, and they shot 35% from 3. So, like, I still don't think this Bama team is very good. I'm pretty surprised at this point that they're still number 1 in offensive efficiency. They obviously kind of hacked the system the way that Muss does shot selection, but it's also the first time all year that Tennessee's been fully healthy with Connect and Ziegler. And so the team's running a lot more efficient offense, way faster. Their 93rd tempo currently is the fastest Rick Barnes team since 2014. So, yeah, this is obviously a spot we're going to need to target. When Bama doesn't run, they're running a ton of pick and roll, but Tennessee's elite guarding it, so Bama's going to have to run, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, obviously good DFS spot. So we're gonna have to get some of these guys.
Yeah, we got breaking news on the show, Gav. Omir is not dressed. He's not going to play today.
All right. Well, there goes that fucking idea.
We can
Shows how
touch
much
on
I know.
that. We can touch on that at the end of the show. Kurt, yeah, there's just a ton of options here in this Bama Tennessee game. We saw Connect down at 5-3 when we were on the show last. He's at 7-9, fully deserved it. He's been going ape shit. Adu, I think, is a great play at 7-2. Sakai Ziegler has been great. Yeah, so I think you can play any of the Tennessee studs here. I think this is a Sears spot for me personally. Price is down a bit. Like he's really close to Estrada and Nelson off of their good games. I think Sears has got to have a bomb game for Bama to keep this close. What do you think DFS wise here, Kurt?
I think this is a fun one to stack up. I like Sears is so cheap, probably good for a bounce back game. I hate Grant Nelson here. I feel like Oates does not like him. I ran like a god the second half of that last game. I had 100%, and I told myself not again unless it's a different matchup. I think they want to go 4 guards here more. So naturally, Nelson will probably make the slate today, but I'm not taking that risk again. I think they do go more 4 guards. With Tennessee, how do I say this? I like everybody. I like playing the scenario of one of those guards foul. So like I like Dalton, and then playing another one like Shai Jordan James or even Vescovi, and then hoping that JJJ fouls or Vescovi fouls, and then the other one just gets more shots up, even though Vescovi haven't been getting shots. Mostly Vescovi has a long shot play, and you really need like fouls to get some more usage. You probably need fouls from one of the high usage guys like Connect. But I think, how do I say I like everyone on Tennessee side? I mean, is that bad? Like,
no. They're going to score 85 points here.
Yeah, so what's funny is last week, it was just so easy jamming in, connecting Adu, and the fact that only like 25% had the combo was the absolute nut. I think it's a similar situation here, but I'm going to spread it out a little bit more and get some like oddball shares of Tennessee with, like I said, Vescovi and JJJ. For Bama, I don't really do good playing that game unless it's Sears. So just Sears for me on Bama, and then my game stacks, Steve roasted me for taking shots on Pringle or Wagyu. I realized the floor is at 5.
No, but who's the high quality beef? There's nothing high quality about this guy.
Well, like I said, it's doomsday scenario. It's like the foul scenario, and it's a full game stack. And I had to run it back with a little bit of a mini stack for Iowa. So, yeah, I had to play some dust balls that made sense in the game stack. So it was him or Pringle. Both are.
I mean, Pringle's he's coming off 27 minutes last game. He actually had a really good first half and did nothing in the second half. I think he's an okay play, but like at Tennessee is not a great spot for a center. Gav, thoughts on Connect and Adu like in the same lineup, and then rank your Bama guys here.
Yeah, I think Connect is probably one of the 5 best plays of the slate. Adu's probably in the top 15 plays of the slate. I don't think there's any issue playing them both together. They're both going to reach value in much different manners. Like Adu can smash for 40 while scoring, not that many points. 10 points. He had 40 the other night against Georgia. So I think you can play them both together. I think like if I was going to be NME-ing today, there's a good chance that I have one of Connect or Adu in every lineup and a good set with both. And then the way I'd rank the Bama guys is, Sears sub 8K. Don't love the Zakai matchup that he's going to draw, but he's still Sears at sub 8K. So another, I think, pretty elite play, like in the mid-ish 7K range that we're going to have to consider today. After that, God, I don't really play bigs against Tennessee. So like Nelson is going to be probably not, he's off for me. Griffin's priced up, Reitzel's priced up. And then I'm not going to play the lottery of the Wygay and Pringle, Walter stuff. So yeah, I would say if I'm playing anybody, it's Pringle. But yeah, I'm not really trying to play Pringle because if Omir's going to miss, then we got a pretty free square opening up.
Yeah. All right. Let's close out with the Purdue Iowa game. Biggest total on the slate here. Gav, 165.5 is what I had before we went live. Purdue down to -6.5. I took Purdue at 7. Purdue's going to blow out more teams than not. Whenever I bet Purdue, I also bet their alt lines because they can just wagon teams. I don't think Iowa puts up a big fight here. What are your game thoughts here? Do you agree with me, or do you think Iowa's got a shot here at home?
Yeah, this is probably Purdue or pass for me. Last game was 65 possessions, and Purdue just blew the doors off them at Mackey. You know, they were 1.34 points per possession. They shot 65% from the field, where Iowa shot 40. The fact that Iowa is much more reliant on playing through their bigs, whether it's Krikke or Owen Freeman, I think is terrible, you know, in this matchup, obviously against Edey. But yeah, Purdue, after they had the Nebraska hiccup, absolutely just blasted Penn State and Indiana. And they're not projected to be an underdog the rest of the year. It's one of the two best teams in the country. The other thing on the Iowa side, you know, they have a sneaky little 3-game win streak. In those 3 games, teams shot a combined 15 to 74 from the 3-point line, which is about 20%. Purdue's not going to shoot 20% in this spot. So, yeah, best game total of the day, I think, right?
Yeah.
And with the best DFS player that we've seen ever since I've been playing DFS. So, yeah, what to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is interesting, right? Like, we now have several values on this slate. We've got Edey under 11K. You know, he's super expensive. He's way more expensive than anyone else on the slate, but he also has like 70-point upside, I think, here. Like, he could go for like 30 and 25 with blocks in this spot, Gavin. We have a like 50.5 median projection on him at Run Pure, which is just gnarly.
Well, I mean, dude, at 10-8, if he doesn't get 50, you're probably dead.
Yeah, that's true.
You're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, I love Edey here. I'm definitely, so we have the 250 qualifier. I'm definitely going to play him on at least one of my 3 with the value that we have on the slate. Just like if he puts up 70, it's going to be hard to not have him in the optimal. So obviously love him. Kurt, thoughts on this game DFS wise? I'm not playing the Iowa forwards. I think it's Sanford. And then the big story for Iowa, probably what's raised their ceiling lately, is the play of point guard Josh Dix. He's been awesome in like 3 straight games. He's like the same price as Couture there in the mid 5K range. What do you think here?
It's funny you mentioned that because a couple of my non-Couture lines, that's who I played. So just hoping the minutes stay the same as what they have been, and hopefully McCaffrey still stays out so that can't get a little weird. Obviously, the value, it brings E-Day more in play now with the Omier news. And then I don't mind Sanford, actually. I think I don't know what the home and road splits look like, but recently they look a little nice. And I think that if he gets hot, he could put up 40, which is just fine for 7-8. Just fine, dandy. That's about the extent of it here. It's hard to kind of like mini stack this one, so I just kind of did like a 2-man with the Bama stack. I don't know. I don't mind. Actually, I don't even hate someone if they just completely fade this game. It's about the total.
Yeah, Gab, any last thoughts here? Thoughts on Josh Dix and Iowa?
Dix
is, you know, he's fine. He's the price up to 5.6. You know, we'll see what the role looks like. If McCaffrey comes back, he could be auto dead in terms of, you know, minutes going back down to the teens, maybe 20 type thing. So yeah, I mean, I strongly prefer Couture over him. One, you don't have to worry about the injury news if something goes wrong late. Yeah, it's actually weird. This is actually an 11:10 start, so 10 minutes after the Bama Tennessee game. So, like, if you don't get the McCaffrey news until 10 minutes before, and he's available, you could be drawn dead with Dick. So I think that's a little bit sketchy.
It's a 1:10 start on DK. This is the game that's immediately following the first CBS game at noon. So the game probably won't even start till like 1:30. So you may not even get the line.
Good point. Yeah.
Any last thoughts on the slate here, Kurt? And if you want to give a couple core plays or something as well. You're muted.
Good talk.
I'm not ready yet. Yeah, you all take it over.
I'm not are you ready?
I guess I can just go look at my builds I already have. I already built like 4 teams.
Should we address the Omier news?
Yeah, do that first.
Yeah. Go ahead, Gav. What do you think?
Oh, man. Whoever starts for him is going to be a lock button 100% of my lineups. Between AJ Casey and Michael Nwoko, I don't care if they split 20 minutes apart. I'm going to play whoever starts. Like,
yeah.
Nwoko's a freshman. Casey's a sophomore. you would like the rebounding to be a little bit better for a real center, but Omer's not even a freaking real center himself. He's 6'7". So, yeah, whatever guy starts is definitely absolutely going to be in my core without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean they're 3.2 and 3.1, so that's pretty easy there. Gav, you want to give overall slate thoughts, and then we can get out of here.
Yeah, I wouldn't dick around too much with the punt plays. I don't think there's as many as people might think. I think there's going to be a lot of traps, like especially I don't know how to do the Arkansas game, right? That's going to be a big component of the slate. But I think you don't have a chance if you don't get the 7K range right today. So that I think that's really what the slate revolves around, is getting that range correct. So I think my three favorite from that range, like I'm going to play in all these guys are going to be in at least two of my three lineups, if not three, is Mintz, Connect, and Soriano. As if you want contrarian spends, like I think Bruce Thornton might be my favorite contrarian spend on this slate.
Yeah, let's go.
I don't think anybody's going to click on him. And yeah, nut spot, huge pace up, great usage. Also Ohio State 3-point props. Don't let me forget not to bet those. But I'm going to take some alts on some of these guys too, because we're going to see Ohio State chucking from three with the good spot that they're in. I think they're going to be hitting some shots. So be a little contrarian Bruce Thornton up there.
Yeah, I love that. Any last thoughts here, Kurt and Akor, before we have to get out and make our lineups?
Yeah, last thoughts. I think Gavin is right with the sketchy gross value from the Arkansas-South Carolina game. I'm kind of glad the Amir news hit so we can get off most of that shit. And then core will be Michi Johnson, Dessou or Adu, Couture or Barron. Let me go Mark Sears. Bang.
All right, we did it. We did the whole slate under an hour 10. We got to go make our lineups. Be on the lookout for who starts for Amir, who starts for Arkansas, and my core play is going to be Judah Mintz. I might have him on all three of my teams. Love Judah Mintz here. He's going for 40. All right, boys. We will see you next Saturday. Hope to see you guys in second place in the queue. I'll be taking first today.
I'll take last. Dibs on last.
Enjoy all the games today. We got a UFC show coming up, I think, in an hour. We got a big card tonight. Gav will be texting you for bets. For Kurt, for Gav, we'll see you guys next Saturday.